It's time to look at some differentials. These 15 players have been overlooked. Welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. Hope you guys are well. If you fancy hitting those buttons nice and early, that would be amazing. So look, without further ado, let's have a look at my differential squad. All these players are under 10% owned. Yes, that's right. So let's kick off, shall we? With in goal, Sanchez of Chelsea. He's 9.8% at the moment. He's going to go up and up, as we probably established that he is Chelsea's first choice goalkeeper under Maresca. We don't know that for certain, but if he is, he's 4.5 million. And if he's not, then you just go and get Petrovic instead. But he rotates fairly well with Henderson, who I've also got in my squad. So 2 goalkeepers, 4.5 million Sanchez, and 4% owned, 4.5 million Dean Henderson of Crystal Palace. Both Crystal Palace and Chelsea ranked fairly high for defensive data last season. Palace were actually in the top 5 defensive teams in the league, which is pretty surprising. So we like these 2 in goal. Both, I think, overlooked. I think Raya and Turner are the 2 most popular goalkeepers in the game at 20% plus. This is where it gets really interesting, though. Let's move on to the defenders. And guys, if you're watching this going, we're not used to seeing Chasing Green Arrows on pre-records, well, maybe that's about to change. We will still continue to do our lives, but we're just mixing it up with the edits as well. So hopefully you're enjoying this show. And if you are, then drop a comment. We're going to kick off with Lisandro Martinez. He's won the Copa America this summer for Argentina. He's 6.3% owned. Now, you might say, Gianni, putting a Man United defender in, what's going on? But Lisandro Martinez is a good pick because he improves the United defence. So when he's on the pitch, when he's getting points, United clean sheet odds massively rocketed. But also, he's 4.5 million. That's cheap. I'm surprised he's come in so low. There's some good rotation patterns here. We're going to go Cucurella as a 5 million defender. He's under 10% too, 8.7, even after a fantastic Euros for Spain. I'm interested to see where he fits in for Maresca, but I expect him to be first choice left back. And he's clearly very good on the ball. You have to be to get in the Spain 11. I've never been his biggest fan, but I have to hold my hands up. He had an amazing Euros, and he was clearly very good at Brighton. Could he change my opinion in a Chelsea shirt? Probably has that ability to do so. And I just think he's being a little bit overlooked because of the attacking potential. Speaking of attacking potential, no centre-back probably comes with the goal threat of Fabian Schär in terms of open play. Set-piece goal threat is there, like a lot of centre-backs. But in open play, every season, Fabian Schär scores a couple of 30-yard bangers. He'll no doubt do the same for Newcastle. 7.7% owned. He's expensive, but he's a good pick. And then I've gone for a real upside pick in Ian Maatsen. He is 5.9% owned. I expect him to be first choice left back at Villa. He will be high and wide, and Villa, especially under Emery, are a good, well-functioning team. Now, this is my proper wildcard pick out of the first 5 defenders. And my 5th defender is Barco of Brighton. Estupinan is out injured. Barco is 4 million, and for some reason, only in 3% of teams. I'm shocked at that because there's other 4 million defenders, like the guy at Southampton, the centre-back, Bayliss, whatever. He's around 20% owned, I think. Barco could be first choice left back. I think he will be. This guy played for Argentina like under 19s, all the Argentina unders. He's big signing from Boca. They paid around 10 million for him. Barco, the best 4 million defender in the game because he actually offers upside, unlike a lot of the newly promoted 4 million defenders who will just concede a ton of goals and offer very little upside. Let's move on to the mids, though. This is where it gets interesting. Guys, do hit that like button to show your appreciation for CGA. And please, if you've never subscribed, you're in for a real treat in terms of what we offer you on this channel. In terms of engagement on our live streams, I don't think there's any channel better than Chasing Green Arrows. We're going to start with Sonny. Why is Son not in any more teams? Why is he only in 8.8% of teams? Like, I'm shocked at that. Sonny's been so reliable in FPL for such a long time. Like, delivering 200-point seasons is something he's very capable of. And for some reason, I think probably because of the rise of Palmer, the rise of Foden, the rise of Saka, I get it. But I think he should be in more than 8%, 9% of teams. 10 million isn't cheap, but Sonny gives you guaranteed goals. In the same team as Son, we have Brennan Johnson. Now, Brennan could be first choice on the right-hand side. Kulu could play more centrally. Brennan is 6.5 million. He's cheap, but he's also he's under 2% owned. Proper differential in Brennan Johnson. He's got assist and goal potential when Spurs are functioning well. And I do caveat this with when Spurs are functioning well, because at times last year they were hot and cold. But if they start to function well, both Son and Brennan should be on our watch lists. A player that really smashed it at the start of last season was Brian Mbeumo. He's also under 10% owned, and he comes in at 7 million. Now, if Ivan Toney leaves Brentford, which I think he might, then there's a chance that Mbeumo's on penalties. But even if he's not, when Ivan Toney is out of that football team, for example, last season, Brian Mbeumo steps up. When Brian Mbeumo is on the pitch with Toney, he actually doesn't quite produce the same level of output. So Brian Mbeumo definitely one for our watch lists if Toney leaves, which I think he's very likely to do so. Going to go to a player now that's under 5% owned. So let's drop Martinelli in. There was, once upon a time, the season before last, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, they all produced identical FPL points, give or take. They were all therefore priced at the start of last season at 8.5 million. And they were all pretty good value at 8.5 million. But injuries and a downturn in form have meant that Martinelli at times lost his place to Trossard or even Gabby Jesus on the left-hand side. But he didn't deliver last season on the consistency level like Odegaard did, and Odegaard's kept his 8.5 price, or like excel like Saka did, and he's gone up to 10 million. Now, Saka comes with penalties and expected minutes. Odegaard comes with guaranteed minutes. Martinelli doesn't have the pens. He doesn't have the guaranteed mins, but in phases when Martinelli is playing well, make no doubt about it, he's in the first choice 11 when he's functioning well. Now, that time will come at some point this season. Whether or not it's from game week 1, I don't know. But when Martinelli is in the 11, sure, he might not get the 90 minutes Saka and Odegaard get. He might get the 75 or the 80. But in open play, he's a stronger goal threat than both Saka and Odegaard at times. I often think this. He doesn't come with a set-piece threat that the others do in pens. But in open play, there's a reason why Martinelli was priced the same as them before. There's a reason why he matched them for points before. At 7 million, he's ridiculously cheap if he functions. And I keep caveating it with, will he be starting for Arsenal on the left-hand side? I'm waiting for that time, and when he is at 7 million, I think he'll be in my team. The fifth midfielder we have to speak about, because again, this feels like a cheat code, if he's in the 11, is Diogo Jota. Firstly, Jota should not be listed as a midfielder. Jota plays up front when he plays for Liverpool, certainly did under Klopp, often the number 9 when he played for Klopp. We don't know where he's going to fit under slot, and we don't know if he's going to be in the 11. Let's assume there's a front 3. Salah, tick. There's 2 other positions there, left-hand side, number 9, and there's 4 good players. Diaz and Jota in midfield, Gakpo and Darwin up front. Only 2 of the 4 are probably going to be starting. Now, they're all 7.5 million. If we can guess which one is, they're going to be very, very attractive come game week 1 because the Liverpool fixtures are insane. They're right at the top of the ticker. So, I'm not saying put Jota in right now. I'm saying evaluate pre-season. Darwin's been in the Copa America. Luis Diaz has been in the Copa America. Gakpo's been in the Euros. Jota's been in the Euros. All 4 of them have had a big summer. Both Diaz and Darwin went later on in their competitions. Jota and Gakpo Gakpo semi-final. Jota had has had the biggest break of the 4 of them. Just throwing that out there. Probably a week earlier than the others. One to monitor. Shall we move on to the forwards? We've still got some money left. We've still got a lot of money left. This draft, spoiler alert, does not fill the full 100 million. In fact, I'm coming in with a whopping 8.5 in the bank. But let's just have a look at a couple of forward options under 10%. Now, I'm going to start with a guy that is at the Olympics with France. Therefore, he could miss game week 1. And that is Jean-Philippe Mateta. He banged big. He banged big last season for Palace. In fact, since Glasner took over, Mateta looks like a FPL lock. Like, he's been that good. And the Palace attack has been really good. Now, many will go, oh, Elise's left. It's not going to be the same. Sorry, guys. I rate Elise very much. But make no doubt about it, he missed most games last season through injury. Like, Elise wasn't around much, and they still function very well without him. As long as Eze stays and Mateta stays, it'll still be a very good attack. So, eyes on Mateta. He is more than Eze, and I do probably prefer Eze. And for that reason, Eze's at 30% owned. Mateta's under 10, but 7.5 million seems a little bit 0.5 too expensive. But the Palace fixtures are good, and they're a very exciting attack. Now, the Olympics shouldn't bother us too much. It just means he started his season early. He still had a summer break. I'd rather Mateta at the Olympics than Mateta get into a finals of a Copa America or a Euros, right? He still had a full pre-season. He still had a summer break. It's just been more pre-season for France than Palace. Remember, there's 3 overage players that can go to the Olympic squads. It's under 21s. Thierry Henry is the manager, by the way, for France. And Lacazette is one of the other overage players. So Mateta and Lacazette's strike partnership's quite fun. Mateta's 26, by the way, I think. Muniz is under 5% owned, and at times he was worth his weight in gold last season as a 4.5 million forward. Yet we're all slow reacting to him. Fulham have very good fixtures to open the season. He's 6 million this time round. You assume he's going to be first choice at Fulham. Of course he is after what he did last year. Let's not all overlook him again. At 4% owned, it looks like we are. Third up, this is a player that played in the Copa America all the way to the final. He's also going to the Olympics. Any guesses? He's Argentinian. Julian Alvarez. Now, you might be going, Gianni, why would you go for this player? He's a forward. He's 7 million. Well, it's because he's a forward who's 7 million. He's cheap playing for the best attack in the league. Is he available game week 1? I'm not sure. Has he had a ridiculously busy summer? Yes. But he didn't have a ridiculously busy season. He had a lot of time out last season because he couldn't get in the 11. But when he was in the 11 often was when De Bruyne was injured. Now, if De Bruyne leaves, that might give more routes to the 11 for Alvarez. If De Bruyne is not replaced like for like. I'm not sure if they'll come in for an Eze or an Olmo. If they do, maybe Alvarez is off the cards. But Alvarez isn't necessarily an out-and-out number 9 for City. And like he often plays in the same team as Haaland when he plays. What I'm saying, sure, if Haaland's injured, he'll play up front. But if Haaland's fit, and Haaland's often fit, then Foden and Alvarez can function as 2 number 10s behind him. We saw it a lot at the start of last season, and it was actually working quite nicely. So eyes on Alvarez if things fall into place. If not, there's plenty of other differentials under 10% owned. Someone like Visser could be on our radar. But I just wanted to chuck Alvarez in as a bit of a why not pick. So to recap, Sanchez, Henderson in goal. We've got 4.5 defender Martinez, Cucurella at 5, Scherer at 5.5, Maatsen at 5, Barco at 4. Then we've got Son and Brennan Johnson. We've got Brian and Burmo. We've got Martinelli and Jota. We've got Mateta, Muniz and Alvarez. Now, not all of these guys are nailed. We have to check preseason form, preseason minutes, other injuries and other signings. Players like Martinelli, Jota, Alvarez, even Brennan Johnson, clearly they're not nailed 90-minute men in the first 11s. But there could become a time when they are. And when they are, I think they're phenomenal value at their price points. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, let us know. We will be back with more content on this channel. We're looking at doing daily updates midweek, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Of course, we're still doing our lives on Mondays and Fridays, so check them out as well. The lives on Mondays, if you haven't joined a live before, I guarantee you'll love it. Monday evening UK time at 7, and then Fridays around 1 p.m. We're also doing lives. It's me, it's Big Man Backer, it's Dean Jones. It's worth catching. Thank you for watching. On your way out, hit those buttons, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.